Mahadev, 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 Mahadev. So we have been discussing on the Gunas, why Gunas, how it has come. So in the next sloka, Bhagavan says, continuing with the explanation of the Gunas, Drashta Drishimatraha Shuddhobi Pratyanupashyaha. Drashta Drishimatraha. The seer is the pure consciousness, whichever who is the seer. And though pure, he appears to see through the mind. It's a great secret actually. It's very difficult to understand. The whole Shastra will be depending on this, explaining in various through, as I always said, explaining through various angles of the Brahman, leaving no stone unturned, because Maharshi explains to explore the truth, which is the Brahman. So many granthas, many of the Upanishads, many granthas, they have approached the same purpose and meaning from different angles, so that a materialist or an ajnani or the one who was avidya can understand and establish through the practices and the examples that has been provided, plus the methodology that has been adopted in various angles, and confirm and conform to the truth and the realities of the Brahman. This is the purpose of the whole thing. But still the doubts remain. It's because this understanding doesn't take place. Why the doubts remain is that the true understanding doesn't take place. This is not like a subject of learning by heart. As I always said, number of times I have repeated this, it's not the vachyartha that is important here. It is the secrecy behind the vakya vani, which is inexplainable. Vak or vani or vachaka, vacha is only a superficial projection of something, that's all. It doesn't give an indicative meaning, an indicative measure, that's all. It doesn't give a true meaning. Probably it is difficult for you to understand, for anybody to understand, unless this also I have told number of times. In our common language itself, our conversation, there are words which we are using, which gives only an indication of what is what. It doesn't give a true meaning of it. The true meaning is inherent, which is inexplainable, and it has to be experienced. And only through experience this can be revealed, like the Brahman only. We every day, every moment, we use these words. This I have explained earlier. One word is sweetness. Is it not? Sweetness. Sweetness of rasagulla, sweetness of banana, sweetness of orange, sweetness of mango, sweetness of papaya, sweetness of some other, whatever it is, XYZ. Over and above that, sweetness, sweet person, sweet child, sweet God, sweetness of this. How will you, what is the sweetness? Now suppose somebody who is not understanding this, he says that you ask, what is this? What is the difference between the sweetness of rasagulla and the sweetness of orange? You please explain. You can put in many words, slightly sour, slightly this one, slightly this one. Can you understand? Will you be able to understand? By explaining the sweetness of various things in words, can you really understand? Is it like that? Can you really feel that it is like that? Unless you experience that, and all the more, he could understand what is the sweetness of eating, okay, to that extent he has generalized it. What is a sweet person? What is the sweetness of person? That he confused completely now, beyond limits of understanding. Is it not? So what I mean to say is that like Brahman, like same thing is that. Through an inference drawn, these various things have got various what is that? The tastes, what we call as taste. They are all different tastes. Unless one experiences this, no one cannot understand what is this real sweetness. Sometimes we say that the mango is not really sweet. Sometimes we say it is too sweet. Now, how did you derive what should be the right sweetness of the mango? So this sweetness, like the sweetness, you understand. It is difficult to understand the secrecy of it, watch out. Words have been created in order to express an approximately picturization of a particular thing. This cannot be clearly understood. There is a secrecy behind that. That secrecy has to be experienced. Like we tell, so many things are there. A tall mountain. Okay, we can even measure. We say Himalayas is equal, is so many meters. I don't know the exact height. So many meters high, tall. And the mountain in my village is so many meters tall. I can only through my imagination I can imagine that this is this, like this is like this. But actually, how can you experience how is 1000 meters and how is 20 meters? Okay. Unless you see that, you experience it and relate with certain things, whatever mind comes, relate with certain things, you will not be able to understand exactly what is it is. Now, that's why we all get amazed. In the Ramayana, they have explained. Hanuman jumped 1,100 yojanas of sea. What is the yojana? How much is the yojana? So we have calculated that each yojana is so much. So many meters, so many feet and things like that. Well, they are all, as I told you, drawing an inference through, and we are all working like that only. Just an approximate meaning of it, no, that we understand it, okay, that's all. Superficially, we understand what is what, that's all. So, you understand what is a car, what is a bike, no, is also a particular shape of a car you have established in your mind, so whenever somebody says it's a car, you derive from that shape only. So they are all created, that's an approximation. These are all not the truth. They are all inferences. So Vachyartham, if you understand through the Vachyartha, it will not be proper. What happens? Then what is necessary? And experiencing is necessary through that. So if even for the material things, if an inference has to be drawn, then only you can understand. You can really understand. You can imagine how would you understand the Brahman? How would you understand the Atma? How is it possible? Is why it is, so you understand that it is not that it has been created only for the Brahman. No. Any Vahani, any Vachya cannot give an exact meaning of what is that. No. An indicative meaning for you to just to discriminate and understand things. An inference has been drawn so that through the inferences you are able to understand that. That's all. Good. So, therefore, Maharshi Swamiji is trying to make us understand through this process how to realize the Brahman. So you understand now. So we have never gone into such details, or people have never gone into such details. Even the ordinary things are not exactly worded through which one can experience. By saying that it is sweet, you cannot get the sweetness. By saying that I am relaxed, one doesn't get relaxed. I am saying that I am tired, one doesn't get tired. Or one doesn't feel the cool or hot heat. Or one doesn't feel good and bad just by words. No. Everything has to be experienced. The good has to be experienced. The pleasure has to be experienced. The pain has to be experienced. I told all these things much earlier. I got a pain in my knee. Now, the other person also has got a pain in the knee. His pain is totally different and his pain is totally different. Now, how to measure the pain? Maybe instruments are there nowadays. For everything there is an instrument. Like lie detector, so pain detector may be there. There's truth detector. Truth detector is not there. Lie detector is there. I have never heard about truth detector. Is it there? No. That cannot be. No, it's not possible. That's not possible to make. There's a lie detector. So there may be a pain detector. Intensity of pain can be measured. Quite possible. But even if you can measure the intensity of pain through a meter, how to experience that pain? Okay, you can say pain so many cycles of vibrations. How do you experience it? That's not possible. How will you distinguish these two pains of two people having different knee pain? One is because of the falling and having an injury. Another is because of the arthritis. or the other because of a sprain. See, all these pains are different. We have experienced it. When it sprains, the pain is different. When you fall and you get hurt, the pain is different. When you have an arthritis, there is a pain is different. When the cartilages are, thinned down and erased, then the pain is different because bones are touching and the bones, then the pain is different. See? But for all these things, what is a common name? Knee pain. Now if you want to know more details, you have it, then experience it. Is it not? You understand what I am saying? Now even for these things, there is no specific word to explain that how this pain can be. Now when they say Brahman, which is not seen by us, not even understood by us, how can you really understand it and personify it or experience it through just by words? So when people say God, when we say God is there, he says, show me the God. It is something like asking him, you show me your pain. How does it look like? Let me understand what is your pain. Or what is your pleasure? Oh, I am very happy. Will you please show me that happiness? Or can you little bit share that happiness to me? Because I am unhappy, can you be little bit borrow that happiness from you? Is it possible? No, it is not possible. So he says, I wish I could give you little happiness of mine, even though he doesn't wish. Because he knows it never happens. So at least you be happy by just telling that I am willing to sacrifice my happiness to you. So I wish I could give you some happiness. If there was a capability, people would have shared the pain instead of happiness. Now you imagine so how can you understand the Brahman? How can you share Brahman? How can you identify Brahman? How can you feel Brahman? How can you? Now only what is that possibility? You have to experience the Brahman. When you identify the pain, you have a layam with the pain. Is why Bhagavad Gita's Prathama Adhyaya is Vishada Yoga. It is Vishada Yoga. When the Vishada is experienced and surrendered at the feet of the Lord, then the Vishada becomes the Yoga. Same way, when the pain is felt, you identify the pain and you experience the pain and you have a layam in the pain. One is experiencing the pain. Then you have layam in the pain. When you have layam in the pain is no more there because you become the pain, then the pain is not there. Pain to you is not there. That means the experiencer has to be there in order to experience a pain, to identify what is called that pain, pleasure, not only pain, pleasure, happiness and sadness or worries, everything for that matter, or for anything that is to be understood, for anything for that matter. Drishta, he said, the one who is seeing a mountain can have a drishyam of the mountain. But the mountain that has been associated with his memory and with the other person's memory need not be same, or it is not same at all. He perceives it in a different way. You see an object. We have done this so many exercises during our classes. You see an object, everyone sees the object as different. Everyone identifies the object as totally different. So it is not whose mistake is that? It is the object. Object is one. If 100 people are seeing it, there are 100 objects from the one. Anekam, from the ekam, anekam. So in order to understand the Brahman, one is that you have to experience Brahman. When you are able to experience Brahman, you know this is Brahman. But then you will not have a complete understanding of Brahman unless you have a layam with that. One merging with that. When you have layam, then immediately after the layam what happens? The experiencer is extinguished. The experiencer is no more there. When the experiencer is not there, the experience is not there. The experience is not. When the experience is not there, the identification is not there. That which can be understood, as in a word, again I come back to that, as the sweetness or the height of a mountain or beauty of a flower. The flower is beautiful. The color is beautiful. The same color somewhere else, he says that no, this color doesn't suit that, it looks very awkward. On the other side, just now only you said the color is beautiful. Now he says the color on something else, he says that this is not beautiful. If the color, what is that? What do you mean by the color is beautiful? Then, understand? You said the flower is beautiful. For all the flowers you said that the flower is beautiful. What is that beauty that you really understand? So what happened? It's an inference. The word vachyartham. That is why vachyartha should not be taken into the consideration of the Vedantic principles to understand. That's why I said by hearting them or by reading them, by listening them, you will never understand the secrecy of the Vedanta. Vedanta has to be experienced. That's why it has to be through the Guru Vani, Guru Mukha, they said. By reading it, you have your own assumptions of that has been mentioned there. Now, depending upon your Gunas, we have explained about the Gunas. Satoguni will take it through the Satoguna, look through Satoguna, Rajoguni will look through the Rajoguna, and Tamoguni, Tamoguna. That's how Bhagavad Gita or any other Granths or any other articles have been described, written, published by many great people. Today I was listening to a professor, he says the man who was very famous of explaining many Granths, after writing so many Granths, at one point of time he understood and identified all that what he has written was wrong, against the principles of the Brahman. He identified, then he wrote another book of a Samarpanam. And he has mentioned there, I am not exaggerating, it is our own writer, one ancient good writer. He has meant Samarpanam. Samarpanam is that there he has mentioned that whatever I have understood about this particular sentence is absolutely wrong. It was connected with Ramayana, Ramacharitam. So, he said absolutely it is wrong. Whatever I have written is wrong. Whatever has been mentioned is wrong. Because he understood Vachyartham depending upon his Gunas. He saw through that and he identified and understood and he mentioned that this is what it is. So, by hearting these things will never give you any idea of it. That's why one cannot remember many things, one cannot identify many things. Tattva Shastram is the tattva of the principle. The principle has to be experienced for that. That is why Upasana, Samarpanam, Upasana and Nidhyasana is necessary. So through Guru Mukha and through Guru Vani, this has to be transmitted directly into his intellect, where the intellect is influenced through the Antaratma or Atman, where it is influenced through the Atman, and the Jnanam, the highest consciousness, has to prevail. When the higher consciousness is prevailing on the intellect, the words that are spoken by the Guru will take a form and shape of the truth. Then he realizes the Brahman. He cannot explain it. He realizes the Brahman. Like you realize the happiness inside you and which you cannot share. As I told you some time back, you share some happiness to me, cannot be shared. You share some Brahmajnanam to me, cannot be shared. through an inference it has to be understood, and then he has to experience. For experiencing, what is the methodology? No other way other than samarpana, upasana, nididhyasana, and listening to the Gurumukha. Why? Because he, depending upon the necessity, he tailor-made, like molds it according to the necessity of it. Like you all must be experiencing, you go for making a top, it's called top. The neighbor has got this with these 7 diamonds and then like a star shape. I want you to make, he goes to the, not to the shop, goes to the sonar, very old man. You explain him that instead of 7 stars, you make 9 stars, so that it should be bigger than hers and also different than hers, and 9 stones, and the shape 1 star should be bigger than the other, so that it looks outstanding, something like that. And he makes it according to that. Gives it to you. No? Why did I say this?
Tailor-made. Guru tailor-made.
According to one's own perceptions, one's own understanding, he receives it, he reads it, he understands it in different ways. But actually, these things are based on the true understanding or the true layam that has to take place. Then only the Brahman can be realized. So Brahman cannot be understood. Brahman, higher consciousness. What is higher consciousness? Forget about higher consciousness. Lower consciousness, we can at least explain something. It contains these emotions, these desires, these qualifications, these characteristics, is called the lower consciousness, which cannot understand the in-depth of the meaning of that, or the meaning beyond that cannot be understood. That which is invisible, inexplainable, is called the higher consciousness. We can draw a line only like that, because higher consciousness cannot be explained in words. Eto vacho vivartante aprapi manasasaha. Same thing happens here. That is why understanding of any word, just by understanding by word meaning, just by reading it, cannot be understood by a normal person. People say that we cannot understand anything by this, by reading it naturally, because your perception has to grow, your Dhyanam has to grow beyond, from the lower consciousness to higher consciousness, or from the Gurumukha, who is in a position to make you understand through the lower consciousness how can it look like in the higher consciousness, can be just shown to you. Like through a small film, how you see the projection on the screen in a bigger size, this Sthula Bhava of that, which is a picture of the Sushma Bhava, and Sthula Bhava can be seen, it can be explained, but you can never experience, even though it looks like lively, people are moving, people are talking, people are dancing, actually it is not happening in front of you. Actually it is not happening. No? But you have been shown that this is how the dancing is, this is how the acting is, this is how the crying is, this is how the laughing is. You go and touch the screen, can you feel anybody? No, you cannot. No? If you laugh, you smile at him when he comes in the picture, he doesn't respond. No. Because that's not real. It's not real. Why? Same way. Through an inference it has to be understood. So, Gurumukha, when it is shown through the Gurumukha, he projects something like that, so that you have an idea of what should be what could be the higher consciousness, being in the lower consciousness. So being in the lower consciousness one can understand only through Gunas. When you travel transform to the higher consciousness, when you transform yourself to higher consciousness, the gunas are not applicable there. Why I said all this, that prompted me to tell you, because he said here, drishta drishimatraha. If the drishta is not there, if the seer is not there, seeing doesn't take place, seen doesn't take place, the object doesn't take place. So who is important here? The drishta is important. How the drishta sees it is important. How the person, how the jivatma understands it or experiences it is important. So whether the Brahman is there, people who are asking, show me the God, show me the Brahman, for them this is the answer. That when the drishta is there, it is not possible to see what is invisible. There are certain things invisible. You increase your power of eyes, then you will be in a position to see what cannot be seen by your normal eye. That in the modern science has already, material science has already proved it. You have got binoculars, you have made binoculars which you can see far few kilometers away from you, which you otherwise normally with your normal eyes you cannot see it. So you need an aid in order to see that which is far. As far as the materialistic concerned, the binoculars or microscopic visions or binoculars and microscopes and lenses have been invented to improve the power of your eyes to see what is not visible within the range of seeing capacity of yours. Right. You have to increase the capacity, then only you can see. You stand on top of the hill and he says, look far there, that is a city. Or far there, that's a shipyard. Or far there, that is XYZ, whatever it is. There, I cannot see anything, only some smoke. That's all. He says, now you look through those binoculars, telescope. Okay. Through the telescope, they are all big telescopes like this has been installed on top of the hill stations. Whether you want it or not, everybody has to go there in a queue and look through it and come back. Then everybody has to discuss, have you seen it? Have you seen it? I have also seen it. I have also seen it. Okay. Whether you want to see that or not, CK, you have to see that. That's one of the rituals. Okay. In the hill station. See, it is not like that. No, here what happens, what I am trying to tell you is that you have an instrument to see to increase your power. Same way, you have to have an instrument to see or to see through your mind what is the Brahman or what is the higher consciousness. So you have to create a lens. Unfortunately, this cannot be materialistically created and fit into your mind and your mashtishka or in your brain to see the Brahman from there. It is not possible, because that also has limitations. If this telescope also has got a limitation, up to that extent only it can see. Then there are bigger telescopes, they are made for the astronomers, to see the stars. Very high power. They also can see only up to that, up to certain point. Beyond that it cannot be seen. So everything has got a limitation. They are all falls under the category of the limitation, which is known as the lower consciousness, that which is beyond the limitations of capability of every human being, any jivatma, any intelligence or any mind is called the higher consciousness, which can be perceived even through the normal living of the normal way of the brain, and the one who had lower consciousness can transform himself with this body. This is what Adi Shankara said. Adi Shankara said, with the same body, same organs in your body, you can be at the higher consciousness. That is where he was. So he can tell you authoritatively that yes, it is possible. So he said it authoritatively that it is possible to transform yourself, so that but you have to transform yourself from the lower consciousness to higher consciousness. So every activity of yours, every seeing of yours, every experiencing of yours will be in the highest consciousness, but never on the lower consciousness. That is why we find certain things are strange. We call it, the great word is there, strange. What is the actual meaning of strange? Oh, that Maharshi looks weird and strange. What does it mean? He is beyond the understanding of a fool like me is the meaning of it. He is beyond the understanding of a fool like me. So strange. Just strange. It looks strange. What do you mean by strange? What do you mean by weird and weird looking man? Because you are Gunas, do not, seeing through that, you look at him as weird man. This is, I'm not just telling that. This is what exactly what happened to who were those three? Dhritarashtra's mother. What is her name? Ambika and Ambalika, no? Ambika and Amba is not there. Ambika and Ambalika. Amba has taken another form and so she becomes that chicken. Ambika and Ambalika. Ambika has did not. Yeah, she had a sort of fear, and Ambalika had got a shock. But the Dasi found the same person who Vedavyasa came. Dasi found he's a great saint and did puja and worship. So Vidura was born to him. The one who was shocked and feared because looking at him is weird and strange is why I am explaining this. She found that she got a shock. Pandu was born to her. Amba closed her eyes and cannot see this man. Again weird and strange. So I don't want to see this man at all. So she got the Dhritarashtra, the other one has got Pandu, the other one has got Vidur who prayed to it. Same man, same thing. So what happened? Perception. See how through the Gunas, that's what I'm saying. How you look through what is the meaning of strange and weird? The strange and weird to Amba was different, Ambika was different, and the Dasi was totally different. It's not at all strange. So what is strange? Depending upon your Gunas, you say, what is the exact meaning of strange? We are all using the same word. That which you don't like or which you do not understand, you call it as strange and weird. Weird, you say, because it doesn't fit into your culture of understanding through the Gunas, that when you are looking at it, you see that which is temporary, that status, that which nobody could see. None of these two could see the saintliness of the nobleness of the saint. They all went into the external appearance of that person. The external appearance was totally different, not palatable to her. Tamo Guna. Where did they see through? They saw through Tamo Guna and Rajo Guna. Whereas Dasi saw him through the Sato Guna. So she could see the sainthood in him, the greatness in him, nobleness in him, and powerful in him. Is how Dharma has been established through Vidura. That's how Vidura was born. So you understand now what we mean by strange and what is that? Weird. This is what has happened. So depending upon your seeing, you get that experience also. So naturally you get the same experience. What happened to those people? So drishta, that's how I got all this inspirations to talk about all these things have come from the word called drishta. So it's not possible to explain everything in detail. So drishta is the seer. Dvaita Siddhanta. If the seer is there, then only the seeing and seen is there. If the seer is not there, or if the seer is different, then the seeing and seen is also different. So they are all status of the seer. Why we are talking about this? Because of the Gunas. When the Gunas are inherited by certain individuals because of their previous experience, that is previous Janma, present karma, present cultivation of experiences in them, and not improvising themselves or equipping themselves to promote themselves towards the higher consciousness, they will experience all these things, the Jagat, through his own words. So each one has, this I have explained earlier in our Chandogya Upanishad also, each individual has got his own world. And in our language it is the same thing is there. वो अपनी दुनिया में है ना? This word we all use. In all languages are there. In any language it is there. He is in his own world. See? If he is in his own world, you are in your own world. Somebody else is in somebody's world. Each one has a world of his own because each one is a different drishta. Why the drishta is different? Each one has different. Each one has inherited the gunas depending upon his previous karmas, sanchetaka, prarabdha karma, sancheta karma and agami karma. Based on that, he has inherited these gunas and he looks at the world through these gunas. So he sees good, beautiful, wonderful, weird, strange, all these things through these spectacles. None of them are the truth. None of them are right. Everything is false. Everything is false. Since everything is false, that what you are seeing through Jagat Mithya is it. Instead of Jagat Mithya, your mind and your intellect and your antakarana and this one is Mithya. This has to be improvised. When he sees that Adi Shankara saw the absolute Brahman as well as he saw the Jagat Mithya, he established saying that Advaita Siddhanta very firmly and distinctly he has explained about the Advaita Siddhantam that there is no Dvaita at all. When Drishta is there, then only the Drishta, Jagat is there. When Drishta is not there, Jagat is not there. And Jagat is an imagination of his, is what he said. Absolutely right. Every world is an imagination of ours only. You are your own world. What is the true world? Can anybody explain? Because there is no truth in us. What is the true world? In order to explain the true world, true means truth. It has to be through the truth only this can be explained. What is the true world? The truth is called Brahman. And through Brahman only, the Brahman can be understood. The Brahman is the Jagat. Brahman is the universe. Brahman is the Adhipati of the number of universes and the 14 worlds of the each universe and the Chara, Achara, subjects and objects. Drishta, Drishimatra, the seer. That's why I said yes. Seer is the pure consciousness only. The seer is pure consciousness because he has got the Atma in him. But even though he is the pure Atma, the seer is the one who has got the Jivatma, Atma, Jivatma, Antakarana, Mana, Indriyas, everything. He The seer is pure consciousness or higher consciousness, whatever you can call it. The higher consciousness is called the pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is that you are not conscious of any of the objective materials through your personal gratifications, personal identifications of through the Gunas. Though pure, Shuddho api. Even though the Drishta is pure, each one is a Brahma, they said. Each one is a Brahman, because Brahman is all pervading. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. So being Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman, every Jivatma is also Shuddhopi, pure consciousness. Is a pure consciousness. But then what happened? He appears through seeing through the mind. Even though the Jivatma is the Paramatma, Jivatma is the Atma, Jivatma is the Paramatma. What happens? Because of his previous experiences, also the present experiences, what happened? The impressions that he has created through the Indriyas and the Mana in the intellectual center, when the Ahankara is there the identification, instead of the identification of the Brahman, the reflections of these experiences have taken place, and through those experiences only you are looking at the world. You look at the world through your own experience. Somebody else sees his world through his experience, his life through the Gunas, we said. From where the Gunas have come? Again from the experiences that has been happening to you. From these experiences you are created Sato, Rajo or Tamo Gunas, Matras. All the three Gunas are there in everyone, but the Matra of the three Gunas are different. That's all. Whichever is dominating, predominant and dominating of the other two Gunas, you see through that. So the requirement of transforming the Gunas into proper proportion and proposition is what is called the Dhyanam or Bhakti or Shraddha or whatever you call it. This is the process that has to physically take place, so that a physical transformation of the mind takes place in order to identify itself through the Atma. He has to identify everything through the Atma, not through the Indriyas and through the Mana and through the intellect, through the experiences. This is called exhausting the experiences, and for that certain karmas have to be executed. This is what is called, this process is called karma and doing the karma. Okay. The seer is the self. This is what Swamiji says. The seer is the self or Purusha. It is untainted, pure and without qualifications, but is reflected through the intellect of the individual consciousness, and is colored by Sattva, Raja and Tamo Gunas. It is wheeled, appearing to have attributes, but in fact it is absolute consciousness itself. These attributes, that means these three Gunas, the attributes, are created by each one through his own experiences. This also I have explained in detail earlier. Mother who doesn't know swimming will always say when the child goes for swimming, he says that be careful, you will drown. Be careful, you will drown, because that's the experience. You doesn't know. Is appearing through the attribute, that attribute. The one who knows swimming, the teacher, the tutor who is teaching you how to swim, he says, no, you will float, says, and you can swim across. He tells it through his experience. The other one says it is through his experience. Each one sees this world through his own experience. My fears, happiness, enjoyments, all are through my experiences. Wherever I presume that should be happiness, so I feel happiness. I presume that is a pain, so it's a pain. It's not good. Somebody says rain is good, let us go and get wet in the rain and enjoy it, come back and bathe, it will be alright. Somebody says never go in the rain and get wet. So small things. You see this? Why there are two different opinions? These opinions have come depending upon his own experience. That is why it is opinion. It is not a fact. That's why it's an opinion. It doesn't know exactly what is the truth. So because one doesn't know what is the truth, one tends to commit mistakes, one tends to commit wrong things, wrong processes, and good things and good processes also. Both ways. They are all depending upon the experiencer. So the drishta, the seer, is the jivatma, is the purusha or paramatma. But when the seer has acquired the attributes of these three gunas through the experiences that he has undergone, he looks at the objective world through this experience alone. So he sees only those things, whatever he wants to see. Do you know that? One sees only those things what he wants to see. The one which he doesn't want to see, he doesn't see. He wants to hear, then only he can hear. He wants to understand, then only he can understand. He can sit in a satsang 100 times, but he can be so efficient that he cannot understand it. He will not understand anything. He can be so efficient. Every time he comes out of satsang, somebody asks, what? कुछ बोल रहा था, क्या रामायण है? ये लोग का तो वही काम है, प्रवचन करो और चले जाओ. He can be so persistently ignorant for 100 times. All the 100 times opinion is same. So, you see, what he wants only he can see, he can hear. The other man says, no, I have learned so many things, I have understood so many things, it is wonderful. The other man says, because that's what he wanted. And he sees nobleness in him, and he sees that all Pakhandis. Why? His tamo guna Pakhanda in him looks through the Pakhanda spectacles and he sees Pakhandis only naturally. I don't say Pakhandis are not there. They are there. That's why the power of discrimination should be there. This power of discrimination comes only through the Dhyanam, and the identification can come only through the Dhyanam. So one has to have Dhyanam, otherwise it is not possible. And it is not that it is something which is very difficult to acquire, this Dhyanam or be Dhyanam, because Dhyanam is inherent in you as Brahman is established in you. Without Brahman, we cannot be surviving. As I told you some time back, we are all in the Brahman, not the Brahman is in us. You see, Chaitanyam, the Brahma Chaitanyam is all over. We are in the Chaitanyam, not the Chaitanyam is in you like water inside the bottle. No, it is not like that. You are in the atmosphere is not in you. You are in the atmosphere. So we say the atmosphere as well as the Panchabhutas and the you are the same. But it is different. You understand now? So what happened? Shuddho be, even though the Atma is pure, because the Jivatma which has been created from the Atma Why and what we will talk about it later. From the Atma, the Jivatma has been projected, and that projection of the Jivatma, which has got a combination of the Purusha and Prakriti, the experiencing of Jivatma has taken place through the Prakriti, even though it is for the purpose of identifying the Purusha that he experiences through the Prakriti. He identified only the Prakriti and some of the Gunas of the Prakriti, and he got entangled with that Gunas of the Prakriti, and he got stuck in those enjoyment of the objective experiences through the Gunas, and became an Ajnani, ignorant. Ignorant doesn't mean he is not intelligent. Ignorant doesn't mean he is not a jnani. Ignorant means the one who is ignoring the true jnanam is called an ignorant. That's why avidya they said. In avidya is not mudhada. Avidya means the one who has vidya but not recognizing the true vidya is called avidya. Ajnanam, avidya, they are all the meaning of that. Not opposites, they are. They are complementary, but no, understanding the vidya as different, gunas as different, and vidya as different is called avidya. Jnanam as different, ajnanam, ajnani. That's all. So it is not mudhada, it is not that blankness, or that he is, what we call as idiot or something like that. We say that no, he doesn't have any brains. Everyone has brains. But his capability of the brain is not comparatively comparable with someone else, that's all. But he has got it. He is in a different way. Even whom we call it as retarded and things like that, they also do certain karmas according to their own way, is it not? We call that, oh, they don't, they listen, they understand. They do their own karma, their own way. But we call it as an avidya. But what happened? Avidya has taken place. The vidya according to that. Why? People who have learned it, people who have done so many things, they do all sorts of unwanted things. Practically, probably more than the retarded and other people, the one who are intelligent and this one, they are the ones who are doing all sorts of wrong things. Is it not? Even though he is supposed to utilize that vidya for the purpose of acquiring the jnanam, he is utilizing the vidya for the other purpose, is why it has become avidya. Sudrishtima shuddhobi pratyayanu pashyati. The one who is seeing through that, the one who is seeing through the gunas, pratyaya anupashyanti. Anupashyanti, repeated seeing through that. Even though drishta is the one who is drishimatra, drishta sees the right things, but anupashyanti, due to these gunas, he repeats the seeing through these things, so you see the different things according to that, is what he says. I think 21st sloka, you take next class. I think now learn to see it through the higher consciousness. Learn to see it through the Atma, so you will see the right word. When you see through the Gunas, your experiences, I always had a bad experience of that place. I will never go there. You see that? No? I always have had a bad experience. I won't go. Neither the place is bad, nor things are bad. You had a bad experience. You are looking through that experience. The experience is also created by you. The experience is also established by you. The experience also you keep it as an instrument to see that place from the next time. I hate that is bad, this is bad. Train journey is very horrible. Every day thousands of people are traveling through the train. Government of India is so much of revenue they are earning. So many people are stealing out of it also. So many people are traveling ticketless. You see how beneficial for so many people. So many people don't pay, but the rail, takes you, train takes you, and you are telling it is horrible. My experience is. So my Jagat is horrible, so my Jagat is horrible. My Jagat is good, my Jagat is good. Change the tune of that. How can you change? Because why? Because he is ignorant about the fact, ignorant about the truth, ignorant about the Dhyanam. That should not happen. God has given us the faculty. He himself has established in us. He is readily available. All the parameters, all the tools are around us. Just take them. Use the right tool to use the right way. You reveal the truth. That's all. Connect two wires properly at the place, the light will glow. Take the same two wires and touch it each other together, it will create a short circuit. No. Depends on you. He has provided two wires, live wires there. Now you use it for blowing the lamp or running the fan, or you touch it both together and fuse it. No problem. That's up to you. All tools are provided. All facilities are provided. Intelligence is provided. Indriyas are provided. All recognition is provided. No? Everything is there, but you have to utilize them. So that is why you have to become a true drishta. Brahman. Through that only you should see. Otherwise, when you see through the Gunas, you will not be in a position to identify the truth. You can see, you are seeing also. Anupashyanti, everybody is seeing. Oh. Everybody boasts also. I have seen this, I have seen this, I have seen that, I saw that, I saw that, I saw that. I have seen that. Have you really seen it? Through what you have seen it? Through your experience you have seen it. Through your intelligence you have seen it. Not through the power of discrimination. Not through the impartial antaratma, but your intellect which is full of the reserves of the prarabdha and sancheta and agami karma alas. That you have seen. It's not the seen. So let us learn that. So samarpana, upasana, nididhyasana, acquiring the Dhyanam, through which we will be in a position to modify these Gunas and at a point of time become the Gunadhita, then you become the Devata. So, Om Shanti.